Hi friends, in our time together today, I'm sharing one of my practice sessions of the Dingle Regatta. It's a slide I recently introduced. I'll stick a link here at the top and at the end of this video to the original video where I introduced the tune in case you haven't gone through that yet. And I'll stick a link at the top of the notes to this video to the page on my website from which you could download the music and tabs if you haven't done that and you'd like to. For my practice session, I'm going to use my Howard low D with the balanced head and the Killarney high D. And I'll stick links as to where you could find each of these really fun, delightful whistles. The Dingle Regatta is a slide. And a slide with the long, short triplet combos kind of carries a life of its own. And so I want to emphasize that from the start before I really get into talking about the practice, before I get into practicing, because you can, at times I think you need to let the slide speak for itself. Ornament the transitions and some of the phrasings, but for me, and again, there's a lot of opinion here. For me, over ornamentation of a slide clouds the flow. Now, if you're so gifted and good that you can enhance the flow with tons of ornamentation, well, that's awesome, and I am trying to get better. But for me, ornamentation is a means of enhancing the flow and of accentuating certain transition points of a tune. Now, as I've said before, my practice sessions, a practice session I could be, I'm learning the tune like I did recently, or I'm feeling really comfortable with it and this is what I'm thinking. And today, I've got the core of the tune down. So I'm not down here. I kind of have an idea what I want to do with ornamentation because I've messed around with it some. And so that's where I am. I'm kind of somewhere between I think I know what I want to do and I really need to keep practicing what I want to do. I'm nowhere up at the, I've got it. I'm really happy with it. I'm performance happy. I'm not performance happy. I'm in the, I'm figuring this out. Okay, so that's where we are there. So the first thing I want to do is to talk about the pace. Now, I haven't, I apologize, I haven't gone through and done a beats per minute, but it's a slide, it's a fun dance tune. And so all you have to do, because I recommend that you listen to different people playing this, groups playing it, see if you can find a recording of a session playing it. And you'll find that the tune is played like, it's quite quick. So and I ignored the repeat and I missed a few notes, but it's kind of that kind of pace. And I find when I've learned the core of a tune and I can play it a little faster, ornaments just kind of happen. But I also need to be intentional about it. So let's dive in. I'll start talking about some ornaments as we go through. Remember, my current feel is to ornament some of the transitions to highlight them, ornament some of the held notes to highlight them. Let the triplets speak for themselves, though sometimes I'll ornament into a triplet. We'll see what happens. So, I'm going to dial the pace back because I need to. You could start off, but I'm experimenting with, do I want to ornament my way in on that D? Just to highlight the entry. So that might be fun. Then when you get to that E, that's a good opportunity for a roll because a lot of people stick another triplet in there. But if you stick a roll, it simulates a triplet but has a slightly different feel to it. Or, and you know, if you've been with me for a while, you know I don't like to get too repetitive on ornamentation. So I'll use like maybe a roll on one of them, tap going into that next one just because I wanted to highlight it. So there, instead of a roll on that second triplet to the E, I decided to just cut the E. And it's okay to tongue a note or two. Ah. And there, I do like to tongue a couple of those notes to punch that upward movement. Oh no, it's the downward. That's where I want to tongue it. I've been squeaking a little today. That's a breath pressure issue hitting there. That's not the whistle, that's me. So I find sometimes you ornament a section and then you leave another section alone. The unornamented section then stands out. That's that little rundown where I stuck a tongue ear to it. That's, yeah. As you could tell, I'm still figuring this out. Maybe instead of being here, I'm here. Now, when you get to the third bit, you could, because you're starting off on a G, where you ended the B bit. I'll end the B bit, and then I'll tell you what I'm thinking. So notice there, what I enjoyed was almost sort of a slidey tap. It was a little slower than a slap. And then sort of a slide up to the G. And then you could start off the third section or, you know, maybe because you've got to repeat it. So maybe one time, throw a cut in or a roll or tap. Actually, if you're going to do what I'm thinking, cut like one of them because they just slid to the higher G at the end of the B part. So maybe cut to create a strong entry to the C part. And then, since you were going from a high second octave G at the end of the B part to the second octave G at the start of the C part, and you cut that gives you the opportunity when you're repeating the C part to slide up to it I'll start the C part again. That way you can do like a like a 2-finger slide up to it, and a little quicker rather than slow like you would do on a slower tune, and that kind of adds another fun feel. So the ornaments add feels. So, whew. Sometimes if you know your ornaments and you can get the core of the tune, and I'm not quite there in my journey yet, but if you know the ornaments and you can get the core of the tune, I think your fingers and your brain and your ear are just going to let it happen. So I realize that at times in some of these videos, my conversations about how I want to ornament a tune get a little stumbly. And that's because I want my journey, I'm sharing my journey. I'm not the expert ornament person sharing with you what you should do. I'm the person saying, well, that felt good. That was a fun way to do that. And slide here, cut there. I'm figuring this out like you're figuring this out. And some of you will know the tune a lot better. So I want to run through it on the Killarney, because sometimes for me, there's a mood difference between a low D and a high D that enables me to try different things on a high D that I will then transition back to the low D. Just because of some of the different way each plays. So let me mess around with the Killarney for a moment on the Dingle Regatta. Okay. I think I'm a little more content. And notice how when I was playing the Killarney, I ended up leaving a lot of the triplets alone because, like I said, I think they speak for themselves. And one thing I noticed I was doing is, let me go back. There were places where I just pushed the breath a little further, a little harder. I wasn't tonguing, but I was pushing some breath that accentuates a note. So you can actually, it's like increasing the volume, but maybe on one note or on one phrase. And that sometimes helps. Like going into that second bit, you could dynamically change this so the first bit's more quiet. And then sorry. So you know, not huge variation, but a little variation even in volume. So I have a lot to figure out with the Dingle Regatta. I'm going to play it some more on my Howard and a little bit more on the Killarney. Killarney seemed like a a fun whistle. Sometimes um, when I'm selecting, this is a beauty of having more than one whistle sometimes, and I know that everybody doesn't, but sometimes one tune feels better on one whistle more than another. But a lot of times I might select a whistle just based on the fact that, well, I haven't played that one for everybody for a while and they want to hear it. um, do you have a favorite rendition of this tune? Stick a note in the comments. I'd love to hear. So that's kind of where I am. Remember, I'm kind of, I was thinking I was maybe here in my journey with this tune, but I'm realizing I'm back here. So this is how I work through deciding ornamentation. I learn the core, I get it up to speed some, and I just start messing around. Feel it, try it, experiment, make sure you throw variations. This tune, you repeat, there are 3 sections and you repeat each of them. That gives you the opportunity to try a tap here, a slide there on the repeat bit. That lets you keep the volume consistent and just loud one bit, dial it back in another, and then increase your breath pressure for a different section. There are so many things you could do, so many options. It's like being at a smorgasbord of ornamentation and expression when you're looking at a tune. I hope this has been helpful, my friends. I know that it's just kind of me trying to figure it out, but sometimes I feel like me trying to figure it out helps you feel free to dive in and try and figure it out for yourself. If you're brand new, just checking us out as we figure out how to play our whistles and get better and better and better, please subscribe and join the journey. I'm just loving learning with you. You are helping me so much, and that is just wonderful for me. So until next time, my friends, this is Scott Shade. Happy whistling.